Refusal to pass into law the bills on autonomy for local governments and state legislatures. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has sent a message of no condition is permanent to the speakers and members of Jigawa, Kebbi, Zamfara, Borno, Yobe, Taraba, Gombe, Plateau, Kwara, Imo, Ebonyi, Oyo, Sokoto, and Ondo State Houses of Assembly and their state governors through the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. NLC further told the state legislatures, especially the named state, to note that a time will come in their political future when the only available refuge from political vicissitudes will be their state House of Assembly, urging them to pass into law the two bills. This is what we shall be looking at this morning, and joining us to discuss this is a Labour leader, Mr. Andrew Emeleze. Comrade, it's good to have you here this morning.
Yeah, good to be with you. Good morning.
Good morning, and there are viewers to be part of this conversation. Or if you have questions for our guest, simply dial the number on your television set. When we look at this issue of local government autonomy, they have been back and forth for years now. And when the Buhari administration came on board, it appears there will be a little light. But now it appears it's getting darker and dimmer with the actions of the state governors.
Well, if you look at the whole thing, it's as if we are not trying to deepen democracy, because the implication is that by giving the needed autonomy to the local government, it means that democracy also will be felt even at the local governance, and the people will get involved. But what we're saying is that the whole system is pirated in the sense that they want to kind of take charge of local government administration in Nigeria. And we're talking about the state governors, and that is why I think of President President Muhammad Buhari had accused them of looting and stealing of local government funds. And I think this is not the best for us. We should, in line with our constitution, because the local government is a tier of government. It's a level of government that is recognized by law. Having gone through different processes, before now we used to have multi-tier system of local government, up to the time we had the local government reforms in the 70s, and it has been recognized as a level of government. But what we've seen over the years is that the state government tries to cover muzzle over the local government, and most of the things that is supposed to come to them in terms of funds and everything is now being mortgaged and controlled by the state government through the governors.
Why is it difficult for the state governors to allow local government autonomy? Why is it difficult for them to allow the local government to have their independence in operations?
So the question is very simple. And I think, as far as we all know in Nigeria, what we have seen in it all is that it is corruption. Corruption in the sense that the governors want to take charge of everything that comes to the local government and spend it the way they like. And that's why even when President Muhammad Buhari accused them, they've not been able to answer, except for Wike of Rivers and Otong, just two of them that were able to say something. The funds that goes to the local government, the governors want to sit on it. They want to control it. They want to spend it the way they like. And that is why they are making it impossible for the local government to be free so that they can also develop on their own. And it's quite unfortunate that we as citizens have been tolerating this for too long. The local government must be given autonomy to also operate at the grassroots level, to allow the people to participate in democracy, to allow initiative to also grow. But when the needed attention is not given to them, and this development does not come from the grassroots, we begin to see Nigeria the way it is.
But if you look at the arguments of some of the governors that I've mentioned, and when I was reading out a list of those who did not support, some of them said that if you give local government autonomy, like for example in Oyo State we have 33 local government areas, you discover that some local governments are rich, they have good IGR, while some do not have a way of generating IGR, so they will not develop at the same pace. But if the state governors should give them equal amounts, then all the local governments can develop at the same pace.
These issues are constitutional. It's not for the governors to opine or give us his feelings. No, the constitution is very clear, and they want to perfect the constitution so that the local government can have autonomy to also be able to develop on their own. Yes, the local government does not have to have equal access to everything. Some might be more developed than the others, but I think with the idea of autonomy, they will now begin to look inward and see how they can, within their environment, grow themselves. So they don't just have to, like local governments, there are peculiarities with local government. You cannot compare local governments in Lagos State with local governments in other states. Local government in other states in Lagos State is metropolitan. In other states, it might not be. And it is what you have that you used to grow. So governors cannot tell us that they are playing the role of Mother Teresa, determining what happens to a particular local government. Allow them this freedom, allow them this independence, allow them this autonomy for them to be able to grow on their own and develop on their own. That is what the Constitution puts it that way, that it's a level of government and it must be allowed to grow. And moreover, if you watch it, most of the state governors ensure that elections don't hold. They put in place caretaker committee just to be able to control this local government and take their resources. And you know all these things that they are doing and going free with it, because the society itself is not very, very conscious. If they are very, very conscious, I think these are issues of corruption, because this money is not allocated to the state government. It is actually allocated to the local government. But you take it and distribute it the way you like. And what they do, most of them, which of course is most unfortunate, is that they put in place the local government caretaker committee, or probably they do kangaroo elections and they ensure that their people are there. And at the end of the day, since they are the ones that put them there, when the allocation comes, they just give them something for emolument and a little running cost. The rest, the governors, they pocket it, which of course is, for me, is criminal. And I think this must not continue in this country.
Another issue is, some people will say that there are some projects that are not under the purview of the local government, state government, and the federal government. We have markets, for example. Some people say markets should be under the local government. We discovered that state governments will commission markets and they will take accolades for it. Eventually, people will start asking, who is our local government chairman? A local government chairman that cannot even surface dress the road in his community. What is the role of the local government?
And that's what to say, that they've made the local government handicapped. They made them redundant. They made them just to go to office probably at the end of the month when allocation comes. The little allocation that they have, they also will share it. And after sharing it, everybody goes on and wait for next month's allocation because they don't have autonomy. And if actually there is autonomy, the people at the grassroots will be able to monitor these things coming to them. They will be able to engage them and be able to ask questions and make sure that, yes, the funds that come, because local government seems to be the closest to the people. Take, for instance, a local government might not be too far from where people stay. For us to have issues now, it will be very difficult for everybody to start moving towards Abuja to ask questions and ask Buhari how the country is faring, or go to state government. But for local government, you almost see, in fact, most of those people, the councillors and the local government chairman, they will live in that local government. So people can have access to them and be able to look into their different programs and be able to query it. And if you don't allow that to grow, how then do we have development at the grassroots? That is a major challenge.
There was a time that election in the local government used to be so competitive, not until when we started having sacking of local government chairmen by the governors after a particular period of time. And there was a time whereby we could actually pinpoint some certain projects to local government chairman. When did all this stop? At what point did we start to get things wrong that we now start to fight for local government autonomy again?
Well, if we have to trace it, we also look at the evils of the military government. You know, when the military government came, it was more of a sole administration. The military administrators then had powers to do and undo. And so what they did was the local government sole administrators that they put in place were under the military administrators, and they were able to manipulate them. And so when democracy came, I think this whole idea was transferred. And the democratic governors also imbibed it and use that methodology to manipulate local governance in Nigeria, and that is what they are holding up to now, believing that local government should be pocketed and manipulated to the interests of the, not just state government, the state governor, because all these funds that is supposed to go to the local government, that goes to them, they don't even give account. You know, in the public service, you don't via fund that is supposed to go to a particular sector. You are not supposed to take it. It's wrong. It's criminal.
So are you saying that you are trying to act in such a way that the military government, they acted, that is what...
That is the extension of what they are doing. Because if that is not what they are doing, how can a state government decide when and how to do elections, who and who is there? And mind you, part of what they do, as soon as the state governor or a governor gets in, they don't want any other political party to win any local government elections. So they try as much as possible to put their people there. They gradually want to kill democracy. So at the end of the day, it will just be that it is that governor and his party that is there.
Is it just about the military interregnum? Because I could recall that from 1999, Return to Democracy 2007, we had people who choose their local government chairman. We know that we had so many local government chairmen from that period of time. They were doing all the things they were doing. It was later from 2007 that things started degenerating. So is it actually about the military?
Yeah, they learned some of these things from the military. But then, as at 1999, when we transited from the military system, then things were a little bit better. But now I think it is getting more and more degenerating, in the sense that it's getting worse by the day. And so from that 2007 that you mentioned and up till now, you see that it's as if there is no local government in Nigeria. That it's the governors that determine who and who should be there. It's the governor that determines when elections will hold. You see some governors, a month to when they will be leaving office, they will conduct elections. And another governor will come. If the party does not win, they will dissolve it. They will take them to court. They will start and what have you. So we are having continuous degeneration on a daily basis in Nigeria, as if things are getting worse by the day.
Now let me ask you, why are Labour leaders now agitating and saying that they must give the local government autonomy? Why is NLC championing the cause? How is it affecting the Labour unions?
Well, to start with, there is a major union that is part of the NLC, that is the NOGI, the local government union. And the workers, they have seen the implications of this lack of autonomy on the local government and local governance in Nigeria. And they have started clamoring for it. And I think it is wise, it is proper for NLC to also be part of it, because they had also looked at the whole idea of governance in Nigeria, and they've seen that there is, based on our constitution, that these local governments are supposed to be given the independence. And so Labour is doing the right thing as far as this whole issue is concerned. And that is why they have moved to the National Assembly. They've called on all these state governors and state government state House of Assembly, 10 of them, 10 state governments that refuse to append their signature to allow for the whole idea of this national autonomy to come up from the National Assembly. So the Labour is involved because they have seen that it is in the best interest of governance in Nigeria.
I have seen a situation where the primary school teachers, for example, happen to be under the local government, if I'm correct. Yeah. And we've seen situations where they are saying that they are not enjoying what their counterparts who are under the state government in the secondary schools are enjoying, especially when we do not have authentic chairmen, when they have caretaker chairmen, where a lot of times, even their salaries, there are more moments they do not get it as and when due.
And that is one of the reasons why unions like the NUT and the teachers were, to some extent, said they don't want issues of autonomy. But the fact remains that their own thinking is that when we eventually have autonomy, that everything will be under local government. And unlike what we have now, their pay, their salaries and emoluments have been withdrawn. It comes directly from the state. So they believe that if we have local government autonomy, primary school teachers and what have you, everything will come from the state. And like we had in the past, it was not in their own interest because salaries were delayed and what have you. But then I think with more and more openness, with this whole idea of anti-corruption and what have you, if the local government is given the powers to act, to be autonomous, I think all these small shortcomings will be addressed, and issues of emolument and the welfare of teachers in primary schools will be taken care of. So the actual thing is that local government, is it a third tier of government? Is it a level of government? If it's a level of government and we are having a federal system of government, I think they should be given their autonomy. They should be given their independence and allowed to act freely. On a good day, we are talking about issues of fuel scarcity. We are talking about issues of lack of power, electricity. If our constitutions were right and things are worked properly in this country, there is no reason why a local government cannot say, okay, yes, we want to have our own refinery. We want to generate our own electricity. We want to have our own nuclear plant. We want to have this and that. We want to have our own, if possible, a university. So if we don't give them autonomy, initiatives will not come. Ideas will not come. There won't be development from the grassroots. And that is why this whole idea of these states houses of assembly not assenting to the bill, and at the different states of state house of assembly, they should consider it, because we are just undoing ourselves by all these things we are doing in this country. So there is need for us to also not just leaving the NLC, but for the whole society and civil society to mount pressure on these states that are concerned to assent to those bills, so that it could go national and the local government will be given the needed autonomy and be allowed to operate, so that we can all collectively monitor them.
Now, this whole scenario seems to have different face. Let me say the face from the legislative arm of the government. We have it also from the conducting of elections. We have it also from the masses. Now, to get all these anomalies into the right place and to start things right again, just as you have said, to create more innovation, what should be the first step to be taken?
Well, I think, like we do say, that the people must agree. The Nigerian people at the federal level, at the state level, at local government level must agree on doing the right thing. And without bias, the people must also have the final say. It's not for us now to sit down and go back home and allow few individuals to manipulate us. What is happening now is that I think there is a secret cabal, a few individuals trying to manipulate the whole of things not working in this country. So if actually they are making, or we are allowing the people to have their say, I think